The following is a message on behalf of Oh No and Streamline Mortgage Solutions.
See, I told you it would be like this.
I just didn't know. I was doing my best.
Yeah, well, I told you, you stupid idiot. If you wanted a good rate on a mortgage or wanted to explore the super low interest rates right now, you should have called Streamline.
Why?
Seriously, I told you. You can get it all done at home over the phone or online. Just call them at 407-898-4477 or visit streamlineflorida.com. You see, you made the biggest mistake, underestimating the power of saving money. We could have made millions together had you not jeopardized our love and chosen to use another mortgage company. We could have had our jet skis.
I know.
If you're thinking about buying or refinancing your home in Florida, please check out Streamline Mortgage Solutions at streamlineflorida.com or give them a call again at 407-898-4477. They will let you know if it's the right financial decision for you and your family, as Brian Zymel and his team pride themselves on providing the best customer service in the industry.
Just let them know that Oh No sent ya. Oh.
Welcome back to yet another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast, episode 95, if you'd believe it. We've stuck around for that long. I also like that we have the most dancey of intro songs in the wrestling podcast community. No one can top our danciness on Oh No Wrestling. Along with me, if you're not familiar with the show, by the way, I'm Owen. I'm your sharp break kid. Along with me is my good friend Duncan. He's the king of bong style. And without further ado, our predictions champion back once again, gracing us with his presence. It is the modern day Maharaja, and thank you for joining the show, all of you.
Yeah, man. Glad to be back yet again.
How you guys feeling tonight?
Feel like dropping a fucking title.
Oh, yes, that's right.
From one hand onto my fucking shoulder, so I can walk away with it yet again.
Oh yeah, he's getting cocky. Yes, we do have TLC predictions, of course, later on in the evening. But before we get into any of that, I feel like we should, kind of throw down some wrestling news and wrestling talk, as there have been quite a lot of developments on, on kind of, a little bit of everything, whether it's AEW or WWE, and actually even on the Mexican independence, or not Mexican independence scene, but the Mexican professional wrestling scene. So there's a lot to discuss, a lot to get into. Where do you guys want to start? Any preference with what you guys want to get going with?
Do you want to start south of the border? Should we start it off with something we don't normally start it off with?
Yeah, you know what? That's not the worst idea. We never really
down Mexico way.
We never really talk about AAA or CMLL. Like we never really discussed that. What was the name of the big AAA show that just happened?
I think it was Triple Mania.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of their WrestleMania, right?
It's AAA's version of WrestleMania. Yeah.
And this was like pushed off a couple of times because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, it was supposed to happen earlier in the year. I think it was like April or something like that. Then
I
they
think you're
pushed it to
right.
possibly like August, September, and then obviously that didn't happen. And then the world continued to be on fire. And
Still.
then they actually did. I know that they were saying they were going to do it sometime in December. They just weren't sure. And then as of a few weeks ago, I didn't even see it as like an exact date yet, because I think they kept holding out hope that they were going to get people in there, like a lot of people in there, in Mexico City.
And
it was very weird because I wasn't expecting it, and then I just sort of started hearing about it out of the blue, and I was just like, oh shit, Triple Mania is happening. And like I think it was the next day or like the week of or some shit. I was just like, oh, that's happening. Like, oh
Yeah,
I guess Mexico's not as on fire as I thought it was.
But there was no crowd, correct? I still haven't seen it, so I don't know. I've obviously read all the dirt sheets, but I don't think there was a crowd.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I didn't watch it. I've seen
clips, and for some reason, like I don't pay that much of attention to it.
Yeah,
like,
there's
to
not.
The crowd.
There's
Because
no crowd
unless you're listening to the unless you're there and the crowd,
It's
awesome.
And you've been to plenty of Mexican wrestling shows. I know
I've
that.
been to CMLL. I've never been to AAA.
Okay.
But there's some crossover, but AAA does the 6-sided ring.
Yeah.
CMLL does the 4-sided ring.
Right.
And Mexican wrestling is a trip.
Oh, I bet.
It's
In person, I bet it's an
amazing.
experience. Yeah.
It's so fucking crazy. Like when the world's not on fire, and I was saying this like when I got back from Mexico, I'm like, we need to just take a couple days and go to Mexico,
A weekend,
and go to one of
and-
these events, because even just like, dude, it's so much fun. And I want you guys to get so drunk for like $3.
Yes.
Like
now
it's
we're
amazing.
talking. Me and Matthew will have a good time.
and then like everybody's buying masks, and the marketplace is shit outside, and the crowd screaming obscenities in Spanish at the wrestlers that they hate. You cannot go fucking wrong with it. It is amazing.
So did the 6-sided ring come from Mexico? Like, because the only time I've ever really seen it, of course, in the States, has been with TNA back in the day. But did it originate there?
I honestly do not know.
I don't know either.
That's a good question.
Because I imagine AAA is a much older promotion than Impact or TNA. Like AAA.
I would think so. CMLL is the oldest still functioning wrestling promotion in the world.
Oh, it's this really? I did not know that either.
Because they I think they're at their 87th year this year.
Oof.
Yeah. Like there were wrestling promotions before that, but they're not.
But then
still
they don't
functioning.
exist
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
right?
So AAA was founded in '92.
Okay. So that is
28 years
before.
ago.
So that is before TNA, though. Yeah, I would wonder. I mean, maybe that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, where the 6-sided ring originated from, and if it was indeed from Mexico, or if that's something that I mean, it would make sense with the style of the lucha libre style of wrestling, the 6-sided ring. It would make sense that it would kind of come from there, right? Like more opportunity for like high flying stuff, and more ropes, more
That makes sense. Yeah.
It would kind of make a lot of sense. I'm not a huge fan of the 6-sided ring, and I don't think a lot of wrestlers are either, especially wrestlers that have been conditioned to
The 4-sided.
the 4-sided, the squared
according
circle.
According to Wikipedia, the 6-sided ring has been used for special occasions such as
Their annual. We're reading the
yeah.
same Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Yep, Triple Mania by Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide. Impact Wrestling, then known as Total Nonstop Action, first used one beginning in 2004 before reverting to a four-sided ring in 2010. So AAA would have
been the
used
first.
it. Yeah.
Maybe not the first, but used it before TNA did.
Used it before TNA.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what exactly?
I'm just
sorry.
reading some quotes here too. There's I like when I Google searched this, like an article popped up on from April of this year with Eric Bischoff talking about a 6-sided ring in TNA. And his quote is, "It was fucking stupid."
I mean,
he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I just
makes
don't
difficult,
especially for guys like at the time. Wasn't Hogan instrumental in like when like that like wave of old WWE guys went over to TNA? I think he was instrumental in bringing the four-sided ring back, because I could see like especially like old veterans like fucking
listen,
Hogan,
brother. This is some bullshit right here. Back in my day, I did it 4 sides. All right,
that's all we need.
4 sides, and I only used 2,
brother.
I only used 2 of them. I used the entrance ramp and I used the hard cam, and that's all I used.
all
That's all I needed to do, brother.
But yeah, I was reading about this this AAA Triple Mania event, and one of the before, of course, the major headline of the evening, I saw that they had that Marvel superhero match, which I remember hearing about in the past.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of talked about a little bit.
Talk about that. Yeah.
So they had who was in this match? I know Leo Rush was essentially Spider-Man, or was he Venom? I can't remember which one.
Hang on, we're gonna.
Yeah. Help me out with this one, guys. Sorry, I should ill prepared for that. I know Brian Cage was Thanos.
Brian Cage is Thanos,
which makes sense too. Like looking at the guy.
Black Taurus is Venom.
Okay.
Leo Rush was Spider-Man.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Daga is he's a really good lucha libre wrestler, but he is Captain America.
Interesting. Yeah. And what's weird about that too is like this is officially licensed by Marvel. Like Marvel is behind it and excited about it and all about it. But then they had which is even more surprising, then they had the heels win the match. They had Thanos and Venom essentially win the match.
And you know that Daga is married to Tessa Blanchard.
I did not know that.
So Captain America is married to Tessa Blanchard. You heard it here first. Breaking news.
Gotcha. Which AEW may or may not be interested in her. That's another thing.
Yeah,
I've been reading, like yes and no, and I know WWE. Like I don't know that her whole thing's up in the air too.
I think me and Duncan texted about that. I think a little bit last week, and
we can get into that in a minute.
We'll get into that in a minute, because that is it's definitely an interesting thing for us to discuss, because it's quite controversial no matter how you look at it. But other big highlights, or the only other big highlight that I know, of course, was the Kenny Omega match defending the title. I thought
First of all,
okay, sorry.
No. There was the 3-way tag team match for the tag team titles. Lucha Brothers versus Mistizes Jr. and Octagon Jr. versus Tejano Jr. and Rey Scorpion, which I've seen some of them wrestle.
Okay. I'm not going to pretend that I'm super familiar with any of those names, so
don't need to be. Besides
obviously Lucha Bros. Yeah.
Right. But the Lucha Bros are like, that was a good one. They played into Pentagon's injury.
Okay. Which is it's a shoot injury, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a shoot injury. He came out, they attacked his leg with a barbed wire bat. I think is what happened. And then he went into the back.
What is it? Is his knee or hip or something?
His
Or-
knee.
I think
they
it's
were
his
selling it
knee.
as it was from the knee down.
Okay, gotcha.
So, he came out after, like, towards the end of the match. Spoiler alert if you don't want to hear anything, whatever. I mean, I think you're gonna be hard to find it anyway. But he came out like hobbling around. His leg was all bandaged up, and
Against doctor's orders.
Always against doctor's orders.
Always.
Which, I mean, it's Mexico.
So they have doctors down there.
But yeah,
they're very
yeah.
good.
They sell Viagra and painkillers.
I tried to like get a prescription for antibiotics because I had an ear infection, and I was like, can I just pay somebody to do that? They're like, no, you have to go to a doctor. I'm like,
but I can buy.
You're like, but every pharmacy around here like sells all of this. I can just walk in and buy it.
Yeah.
Over the counter? Really?
Yeah. So
antibiotics, no, but Blue Chew and Viagra and
Vicodin,
Blue Chew,
Valium,
all that's
good shit.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. But he came out and hit a few moves while he was hobbling around, and Penta and Phoenix ended up winning, so they kind of like sold into that because I don't think they wanted to not show up for the biggest show of the year in that promotion.
I can understand it, and obviously they probably worked around the injury and did, I would assume kept it as safe as possible, but
yeah, we'll say that
for Mexico.
Well, for those crazy fuckers.
There's also that too. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Blue Demon Jr. was on the card. Okay. I met him while I was there. He has a store around the block from the Arena Mexico, which is where CMLL has
it's almost like their dedicated arena too, right? Like
it's their big arena.
Okay.
Like they have another one in Guadalajara, and then so they have a couple different arenas that they travel to around Mexico, but Arena Mexico is the big one that they have like all the big events at.
Gotcha.
And like it's on TV 3 nights a week down there. So it's fucking wild. But it was a free meet and greet. Like who does that? It's literally like at his store, and it's Tara, my tattoo artist, favorite luchador, because she grew up in Southern California, so she's very familiar with it.
Oh, cool.
And so I went and got her a fucking autographed picture, and it's a big ass fucking picture, free. Just they're
Nice.
like, here, have fun.
Spend some money in the store, I guess is the idea, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm terrible at speaking English, and he was just like, what's your name? And I'm like, I need it for Tara. And he's like, it was a fucking shit show.
You had to write it down or something. Yeah.
I'm an embarrassment to all languages, even English.
But from what I've heard, Kenny successfully defended the championship, which
he did.
I was kind of like before the we'll talk about this obviously in a couple minutes, but before the development of what was going on with Kenny currently, I kind of felt that, oh wow, like Kenny's focus is clearly going to have to be on AEW, maybe not having as much time for these extracurricular activities, as we'll just say.
Right.
So I kind of thought that he might be dropping that title, but lo and behold, no. I mean, I guess he's still as much of a draw there as he is on other television shows that we've seen.
Turns out the only extracurricular activity that he's dropping is the development of the women's division in AEW.
You know what, though?
Sorry, I had to.
Maybe that's part of the whole Impact collaboration, right?
No, I think that's going to raise the women's division. the Impact and AEW thing, but we can get to that stuff later. I just had to
Yeah.
take that shot. You set it up too nicely for me.
It was
to-
open.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit the softball,
So
bro.
yeah, but I also think, like, why not? Like, if they can get, especially right now, even more Americans watching, like, and looking for Mexican wrestling,
Yeah.
and looking at like, why not? Like, Kenny is super hot right now. He just did
Yeah.
the cross promotion with it. Like, it does kind of make sense. I don't think it's going to be an all the time, but I think it's, for maybe the next 2 to 3, at least 2 big events for them, he'll go and then drop it, like, because right now is the opportunity to bring more eyes, and so why not?
While
You
the
know what, they're
world's
almost-
talking about it, why not? Yeah,
Yeah.
strike
They're
while the
almost
iron's hot.
They're almost doing what the Hardys were doing a few years ago. What was it, like 4 years ago when we went to Mania down in Orlando?
Yeah.
And the Hardys had been on their expedition of gold, or whatever they were calling it, where they were going all around the world capturing tag team titles.
Which is
Yeah.
cool.
It's almost like that sort of thing. And you know what? I'm here for it, because anytime I can see other promotions working together to bring up the profile of professional wrestling, I want to see it.
And I think it's good for the business. It's good for everybody as a whole. I think it increases value across the board.
Mhm.
And I mean, let's just talk about it. Let's go straight into that, honestly, because we've already kind of, beat around the bush with Kenny on Impact. And
Yeah.
now we have seen the sort of debut of the Omega Express, as I'm touting it. And I'm digging that they did something on last week's show with Carl Anderson. Like, that was
Yep.
nice. That was nice to see them acknowledging that relationship, from the past, which needed to kind of be done.
That was on the pay-per-view, wasn't
That
it?
was, yeah, you might be right about that.
Yeah, I think it was.
I forgot
Because
there
they
was a
brought
pay-per-view.
like during the initial Impact appearance last week, it was just
Yeah, that was when
him.
we were doing the show, just starting the show last week. Yes.
It was him and Callis and
It was
Josh
just
Matthews.
So yeah, it was.
So it was on the pay-per-view. Yeah.
Final
so-
resolution.
Yep. So it was on the pay-per-view, and Kenny called him out and Callis called him out for not being the old machine gun.
Correct.
So, and that sort of leads into the rumors that All Ego Ethan Page might be leaving Impact because he lost that match to
Machine Gun.
Anderson.
Yeah.
And then I think his contract's up. I could be wrong. That could be dirt sheet gossip. But
he would
that's
be a
the last
logical one to go to AEW as well, though, wouldn't he?
He could. He definitely could.
So how long would his contract have been then?
Probably
Like, it's what, a year?
a year, maybe.
A little over a year now?
Yeah.
Because it September that he was able to. I'm just trying to think of the timing of when he was able to.
It feels like a year. I might be wrong, but it feels about
When
about
who?
a year. Ethan Page.
Oh, I thought it was a 2-year contract.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Shows how.
Hold on. We can find that out.
Yeah, we can.
We have the technology.
But I mean, with the whole Kenny on Impact thing, is what you see, looking forward, do you see Kenny actually winning the Impact World Championship? Do you see him having that gold? Or does he go and maybe take Moose's TNA championship and they do something along that line so they can keep it on Rich Swann as the Impact champion and have their champion, but Kenny can maybe pick up the, I want to call it the hypothetical belt. I don't know what else to really call it, but it's kind of like the FTW belt in AEW in a certain sense, right? Like
It's like when Flair brought the W's or the NWA title
right
over you know what I mean? And he had that title.
I was just thinking
And
that
then
might be an interesting way to do it. So you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
necessarily have to strip,
I
Impact of a
guess-
champion per se, but you could have Kenny pick up a piece of gold within the Impact, realm, but not necessarily be there. I don't know.
What if you? I'm not a booker, but what if again? And this is a lot of what ifs and leaning into Kenny being so hot, and that everyone trying to capitalize off this right now, and which I think is smart to do it, not just monetarily, but like eyes on wrestling and getting people, involved, and so many different fans involved, so many different crossovers, and seeing all of this. Which I think is kind of their plan. Like, I mean, it's obviously their plan, but now I think it's a little more long term. What if you have Kenny beat Rich Swann, doing it dirty the same way he picked up the AEW
Ooh.
belt,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
which then opens that door to have people from Impact coming to show up on Dynamite. So now we're kind of like reversing this, right? And now you're leading up to like a bigger crossover main event that could be on Dynamite, where someone is able to win that title back clean. He can still be the AEW champion,
But
maybe
but
he
drop an
kind of
Impact
steals
title.
it back.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
And maybe they don't do it clean, but they are able to take it back. It just, that seems like a good way to do cross promotion and bring the brands from, like, instead of all of those eyes going to Impact, they're coming back to AEW, and you're bringing people who maybe are hesitant to go to AEW from Impact. Like, I'm sure there's some fans who, some smarks who are like, no, I'm not into it. It's not their thing.
Right.
You do you. That's cool. But if your people start showing up there, you're probably going to be more prone to check it out.
That's how a lot of
Which-
us got into WCW in the first place.
100%.
Yeah,
I
which
mean,
is-
I was never a
is-
WCW fan before the Outsiders, really, and the whole
Yep.
the whole
And
invasion.
Hogan.
I mean, I'd see it, watch it here and there, but to me, it always seemed like old man wrestling. For me, I'm just down with, no matter if you have two choices, I'm cool with both the choices, and I'm cool with Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, and I'm cool with Kenny Omega versus Moose. Either one of those is fucking dope.
I don't
And-
think there's any reason that they can't set up both of. What if he fucking took both of their titles
Oh, I
and
mean,
then unified it?
we can only masturbate so hard, but
First of all, don't question
that is true.
my intensity, sir. But I mean, yeah, until it bleeds, I guess.
It's the
you know.
chafing, usually the chafing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you got to power through.
Okay, good tip.
That's all.
Good
You just
tip.
Yeah,
power
and you
through.
just use the blood as lube.
A little spit,
Yeah.
a little spit. That's all you need.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, really, lemon juice at that point. Just fucking
Wrestling podcast.
Sorry. You put "oh no" in front of it. It's hard not to go into that.
This is true. This is true.
Mm.
But
yeah, I think that it would be great. I would love to see. I like how it's Kenny the Collector.
I love the idea, and I love the way he explained it too, with the whole.
Yeah.
I used to collect comic books thing, and now I've got my, whatever it is, the Superman 1 or
Action
what?
Comics. Action Comics #1 or whatever.
Thank you. But I mean, it's a good point. I don't think it stops there. I mean, now he's got the AAA. He's maybe going
he's
after
had
the
the AAA.
Had the AAA. Correct. He had the AAA, but he's got the AEW championship. Maybe now he's going after this an Impact. We'll find out tonight. Realistically, is that I know he's going to be on the show later on this evening, probably as we're doing this show. So we'll find out. So we'll find out when we get off the air, but what his intentions are in Impact, and I assume that will be to challenge for something. What does he then do after that? Do you think that there's an NWA Nick Aldis Kenny Omega match? Because that to me is fucking money. Like that right there it would work.
Dude, isn't Jonathan Gresham the Ring of Honor world champion right now? That would be stupid too. Or
That
maybe
would
it's Jay
be-
Lethal. I don't remember who, but in any case, like, there's no reason that Kenny couldn't also reach to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, NWA have a working relationship, you would think, and obviously
AEW though clearly has the NWA relationship like very close. So
absolutely.
that's
But
why
if
I see
they-
that as the next move in that in this
the only
scenario.
reason that I could see it as, like, I would think that Impact would not go with Ring of Honor is because of the Sinclair.
That makes sense. Yeah, the Sinclair.
You know what I mean?
Because they're
Like,
both
thinking of-
owned or they have relationship with the Sinclair Broadcasting division.
Well,
and all
because
that.
Turner and Sinclair are not friends.
Direct competitors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're not doing media conglomerate crossovers.
Right, exactly. So, and I think that Access TV just isn't a big enough thing for TNT and Turner to really, care about, or it's easier for them to make a deal because it's not Sinclair.
Well, and they're also
good point.
again
Very
probably
good point.
yeah, and they're also again with AXS, they're probably looking at it, and it's that whole thing of like, how like what is the bottom dollar, and it's like it's the way Costco loses fucking 30 million on chicken a year because they sell it so cheap. It's like their loss
Right.
leader, but like they're making so much more and with everything else. So it's like, TNT is probably like, okay, yeah, like do that crossover, and you're gonna
Right.
bring people back in over to TNT. Someone has run that number.
I think
don't know who it is.
I think
Someone's
I think
plugged
that's
that
I
into a
think that's
computer.
accurate on the business sense because again, I remember last week my brother, I think I told you, was asking like why would like it's obviously important like for Impact to have this deal, but why would AEW want to go in on this? But you're exactly right. Is that they've calculated the risk essentially and what they will potentially gain and potentially lose, but yeah, realistically it still does get eyes on the product and it still does influence. I mean, it's like the whole like no press is bad press,
Rising
type
tide
thing.
floats
Yeah, they're
all
allowed to
ships.
use this on
Yeah.
all of their media. They're, AEW on TNT. They're allowed to talk about it. They're allowed to put it on their social media. They're allowed to
Mhm.
use it in articles, clips, these types of things. So they're also drawing so many eyes, which is selling ad revenue on all of those,
Yep.
platforms. Whether it's people watching or not, they're still, it's not just watching Dynamite, right? That there's so many ways for them to pick up revenue. Otherwise, with, social media and online news and all of these, it's all clicks. It all adds up, it just makes sense.
So what now do we do with Kenny in AEW? Who does he face? Who is his first challenger for that? I mean, you can logically say that Mox is deserving of a rematch. So that
I was going to say,
they
do
might
they go that route?
I hope they don't. I hope they kind of like and that
I hope
leads
they
into
give
it.
him some time off. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want Mox to have some time off and then maybe have him, like, I can see Mox and Lance Archer. I know they've worked together before in Japan, so I can see them sort of working well together and, like, maybe developing a feud with the two of them. And kind of just for a while, like, Mox has plenty of years left in his career. He can take a year or so off of being in the, world title picture, shall we say.
Well,
And he
then
just had an awesome run.
Renee's- Yeah, and then Renee's going to have a kid, so he's got some time. And then when he wants to come back in like a year or whatever,
then it would be cool to then
Yeah.
have that rematch or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm struggling to find. There's a lot of great contenders that AEW have that could go after that belt, but I'm struggling to find any single one of them that would be believable to win it, apart from Hangman Page.
That's what I was gonna say, and I hope they don't do it too quickly.
They can't rush
'Cause
this. No.
Yeah, don't
They
pull
need
the
to
trigger too fast.
let it burn right now. Let Hangman get quite a few wins under his belt.
But
You know,
we all agree that Hangman should be the one to dethrone
Yeah.
Kenny in a sense.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with that. I think they have a lot of. They should just do the Kenny story. Let Hangman build himself like out of this like anger that he has this drive now and this like reason to not just to like prove to himself and all these things, but he's gonna hold that little bit of a grudge. But I don't think he ever needs to say it. I think we as wrestling fans know he doesn't need to say it at any point for the next little bit, because then he can like once he's gotten himself to the level of being a top guy,
he's got to
he can
deal
then
with the Dark Order too, though, for a while as well.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
Well,
yeah,
that's
so
why I
to
think
do
you
the-
can draw it out.
get all
like,
these accomplishments, and then he's like, hey, I didn't forget what you did. Like I didn't
Yeah.
forget what happened between us.
Well,
you
and
know?
then make it be a more of a drawn out story instead of it just being like, oh, Hangman's next on the list, right? Like you want to have it be
it's a natural
something-
blood feud.
yeah,
Yeah.
for whenever blood and guts could happen potentially, or like just have him build it until All Out, or not All Out, Double or Nothing,
Yeah.
which at this point is like less than 6 months away.
I know,
Kenny
it's
needs
crazy.
to hold on to the belt for at least that long, you'd
Yeah.
think, to like give some validity to it instead of having like, quick title reigns. So
Mhm.
because like
especially with the current gimmick of the collector.
the collector,
yeah.
right? You don't just want to like build that character, and dude, you don't want to waste the cleaner turn.
You don't either. You
No.
need to like they've brought it back. Like they keep
They
it.
need to embrace it because it worked so well. And like you look at how Finn Balor is getting over in NXT with the Prince gimmick, right?
Mm.
It's just being Prince Devitt. Like it's fucking great.
And it's working very well.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit too. But do you do Brody Lee? Kenny?
I guess you could.
I mean, you could.
Could Kenny
Bri-
wins that?
Brian Cage, maybe. I'm trying to think, like, who apart from, like, who do we want? Who can he have? I mean, Kenny can have a great match with pretty much anyone, but we've seen him have a great match with a goddamn broomstick. So
I'd like to
Yeah.
see him like. I mean, I'd like to see him and like Ray Phoenix go at it just for a match, just for fun.
that
you
was
know?
actually, I think that's actually rumored coming up as one of the next.
I'd love to
feuds.
just see that match. Like, I don't think they would think about putting the title, obviously pulling the title off Kenny for Ray Phoenix, but I think they would put on a great show.
Well, and it fits in perfectly because remember how in the tournament and everything, Ray was supposed to. It was supposed to be Kenny and Ray in a match.
Yeah, it was.
And
Yep,
then Penta
he got
got injured, and then Penta stepped in, and Penta had that match. But they had a great match. But they've not had that one-on-one in AEW yet that they have talked about and is sort of deserved of Ray Phoenix, quite frankly. Like it,
Right.
So you have a storyline built in there where it would make sense to have Ray Phoenix. Maybe that's the next challenger.
Kenny and Penta have had several good matches, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Like he needs to have that match with Phoenix because, dude, Phoenix is gonna be a breakout star. Not that Pentagon isn't a star, but Phoenix is going to be, I think, that next level star that I
Yeah.
don't know if Pentagon will hit as much as I want him to. Does that make sense?
I think that makes a lot of
It
sense.
does.
I think Ray Phoenix is positioning himself to be the next Mysterio, really, in a lot of ways. Like the next evolution of that luchador style in North America, in
absolutely.
America.
Hey,
In
hey,
America.
hey! Don't you throw dirt on? Is it Dominic? I forget his
Dominic
fucking name.
Mysterio, yes.
Yeah, he is the next Rey Mysterio. Come
I
on,
I
man.
could tell
Well,
you. I
he's-
could tell you're
There's an
that
eye for an eye
invested in
match.
it because you could
There's
remember
an eye
his
for an
name.
eye match somewhere in there. Yeah, there's something with Seth Rollins for a long time. I got bored.
Now his sister's making
Yeah,
out
his
with
sister
Buddy
was in
Murphy.
there making and then people were upset 'cause she's young. I don't know. Yeah, Dominic, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Dominic.
Dominic.
Yeah.
Not
He's not the
Slapnut.
next Rey Mysterio. He's the first Dominic Mysterio, and also
There you
the
go.
last.
Oh, possibly the worst. I don't know. Well,
Could be.
He's
very
all
well.
right. I just don't want.
He's
I mean, he's okay. I just.
well,
give,
can I
give me
interject
some
with
grit?
something here?
Please
Yeah.
do.
Speaking of crossovers,
Hmm.
have you guys seen that AEW during the 24-hour? We all know, like TBS does the 24 hours of a Christmas story.
Yes. This I know what you're gonna say, and it's fucking
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, that AEW and the wrestlers have been filming certain scenes from A Christmas Story, and they are going to be airing that during the 24 hours of A Christmas Story.
Yes.
On Christmas, and then it'll be going on their YouTube and such.
Is that where they're doing it? They're doing it online, like on
So
on
yeah,
YouTube?
so
Afterwards.
it's gonna be on. Yeah, so it's gonna be during the marathon, and then.
So is it like reaction video type thing, or
No,
No,
they're
they're
actually dressed up
reenacting
reenacting the
scenes.
scenes.
Oh,
So
that
you
I
got
didn't know. I didn't know that.
So MJF is going to be Ralphie. Cody and Brandy Rhodes are Mr. and Mrs. Parker. Chris Jericho is Santa Claus. Eddie Kingston as Schwartz. Scorpio Sky as Randy. Ortiz as Flick. Dr. Britt Baker as Miss Shields. Ricky Starks as Farkas. Allie as Dill. Frankie Kazarian as the Elf. And Luchasaurus as the Freight Man.
This is
Yes.
going to be brilliant. You know
I
it. You
can't
know
fucking-
it is. You
I
know
can't
it is.
fucking wait for this. This is gonna
I'm not
be
even
so
a
good.
super big fan of that movie, like, but I
was a fan until they started doing it for 24 hours, and now I'm
Right.
like, I mean,
I need to watch it once.
I'm
a
living
year.
in a fever dream when I like during those 24 hours. Like if you flip through the channels, you're just like this again, this again, this again.
This again.
well, that's hilarious. I know that MJF has been quite vocal too about how his displeasure with the whole thing. He's like, I'm Jewish, like I shouldn't even have to do this. Like this is bullshit. Like but
So good. I can't fucking wait for that. It's gonna be amazing.
yeah, I definitely look out for that. And I'll definitely. I know me and Teresa will get a kick of watching it, but something that a lot of wrestling fans had not gotten a kick out of is that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, segue. Thank you. Yeah. There were reports apparently of some of the big men in the WWE being sent back to the Performance Center. We have always I should have wrote down his name because I always fucking forget it. AJ's bodyguard was one
Omos.
of them.
Omos?
Omos. Yes, you're right. The other big one that I always forget his name and can't pronounce. The it was on Raw Underground.
Dabakato.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. And then the other two that were mentioned were Otis and Keith Lee being sent back to the Performance Center.
One of Retribution.
Okay, I didn't I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Slapnuts.
That one's with the yeah.
Mace. It's not Dijakovic. It's
No, I think it was Mace. I think it was. Yeah, I think you're right. It was Mace. It was.
It's whoever the fuck is Mace.
The dude that was doing commentary for a while. Dio.
Dio Madden.
Dio Madden.
Thank you.
Mace Windu.
Yes.
Got it.
yeah. So yeah, a lot of people are pissed that like, okay, why the hell are you sending these people back to the Performance Center? Like, especially with a guy like, you can understand some of those names, but Keith Lee in particular, people
That's
were
the big one,
very,
yeah,
very
the different one.
angry that why would you send him back? It seems like how
Do you
are
think
you not?
He's maybe helping them, teaching them how to work. Like he's sent.
No, because everything that I read is that Adam Pierce and somebody else are the
Yeah, it
ones
was
that are
Adam
teaching
Pierce and oh shit, who was the other guy? He recently sorry?
No.
Recently
Says
played the gobbledygooker.
Drew Gulak.
Gulak, yes, it's Gulak and and him. So
Postman Pierce, yeah.
yeah, they're the ones that are apparently training these guys, which is interesting because you'd think you'd have like for all these big dudes, you think you'd have a big guy kind of maybe
Like
teaching
Mark
them.
Henry, who has been
Or-
there a lot to train the
right.
big guys.
Or even like a Taker, for instance, like who's
Who has also been there
sure
at the PC to train the guys.
I had the same reaction that I think we all had with it. Like, no, Keith Lee, what are you doing? You're missing your opportunity. Like, he's kind of been thrown under the bus from the beginning of his main roster debut. They've not treated him correctly. Yet, I started thinking about it, and as time goes on, I'm like, no, this could actually be a good thing. And I think what they're doing is they're prepping him for a monster run. They're prepping him for WrestleMania. They are doing those little things that maybe are slight tweaks to get him to exactly the level they want him to be so that he can be what we know Keith Lee can be.
But then why are you sending everybody else?
I think it's just
Why are you-
I think it's lumped in. I think those guys
mean,
actually need it, and it can be construed a couple different ways. I think it's misconstrued rather. People in every sporting industry have to train and have to learn new things. We all have to learn new things, and I think with Keith Lee, it's not necessarily that he needs to learn the techniques of certain wrestling moves. It's
Sure.
no, we're going to refine your character or what have you. Like the PC is not just, of course, as we know, just to train a person how to wrestle in the ring.
Absolutely.
It is developed. It's a developmental system so that they can learn certain things with promos or character traits or what have you. That's where Keith, I think that's what they're doing with Keith. There might, with some of the other guys, I know Otis has been a bit stiff and has had a couple of instances where I think people have complained about him being a little rough in the ring and a little stiff and being a little unsafe. So that makes sense for him to go back. The other guys,
Send Nia Jax back.
oh my God, like
Yeah.
put her at the head of the class, but. Yes.
No, you put her at the bottom of the class because she needs to work her way up to the fucking top of the class.
Yeah.
She's the one that you make an example of out of everybody.
Unfortunately, that won't happen because The Rock says, I do.
And everybody else who's friends with her. And but Lana just beat her, so
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing too. We'll get to that, a little bit later, even with predictions. But Lana had like a really cool pin on her, like a corner pin maneuver that she did, and really it looked legit. So I was happy to see that. But they're building something with that, and even though right now Lana is out of action, so to speak, because of the beatdown she got by Baszler and Nia Jax, I still expect to see her at TLC. I think Asuka's going to be out there and on her own, and I think Lana will come and save the day at the end and then get her big victory, which they've been building towards for months upon months upon months. And it's tables, ladders, and chairs. She's going to put Nia Jax through a fucking table. That has to happen. It has to happen in the story at this point.
Yeah. I mean, your other option is what? Bring Charlotte Flair back and still have Lana run down and have Flair and Charlotte.
It's a waste. That's a waste of
lift her up and
Charlotte.
throw her.
It's a waste of Charlotte. They wouldn't do
it
that.
is a waste of Charlotte, but
The third option is Eva Marie. But I don't think they're doing that either.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, that's stupid.
can we just cancel that match and just not do any of the above?
It's not the worst idea either.
I mean, I just think it's also just kind of stupid just to be like, oh, she can't be in the match, and then she shows up for the match.
Or she shows
That's
up
just
at
lazy writing.
But
well, she's not.
Like you
if
do
she's
it
not,
a week before.
yeah,
at
the
least
week
give me
of.
like 3 weeks. Give me like 3 weeks to actually think she's gone.
But then you do it. Yeah, it's like you do it like that, and then there's another. That's exactly what's going to fucking happen. She'll
Mhm.
put her through a table, but Lana won't be in the match. Like Lana will just come out, and because there's no DQ,
Yeah.
we'll put her through a table, and then
But we're not on predictions yet. We'll get there later. We'll get there
ugh,
later.
I don't even care.
We
Like,
were we were talking about the big boys being sent back to the PC. Again, I still maintain that it's maybe not the end of the world for Keith Lee.
it's never as bad as everybody online wants to make it out to be.
Correct.
Right? Like
Correct.
the PC isn't a death sentence.
No.
So, and even people going back to NXT, like obviously there's been a lot of people that have wanted that and have made that happen. So it's not a bad thing either. So if they need to go back for a couple days a week to work on whatever things they need to work on, then fucking whatever. Like you're training. They need to train. It's exactly like you were saying. So
Every athlete does. So yeah.
yeah, you don't just make it to the big leagues and then
stop going to
dick
the
off.
gym.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not baseball in the fucking 70s.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing I did find that made me chuckle, it was a little thing from Reddit, and it relates, of course, to the big men. On Reddit, I found some guy that made a point. He's like, "Oh man, this is so money. I had this like shower thought. They should totally do Otis as Fat Man in a little robe." You know how he's with Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy or whatever they are now. Give me Otis as Fat Man in a little robe. I'll be happy.
I'm for that.
I'm for it.
I love
it. Duncan
I love
doesn't know what to say.
Just do it.
Oh god.
You hate it so much, you love it.
I don't even hate it. It's just like, God, that's so fucking stupid that it's exactly what they're gonna do.
It's exactly what WWE is gonna do. Like
Yes.
Vince will piss himself laughing at Fat Man.
Oh
in a
my
little
god, he
robe.
already has. He's
Yeah.
already pissed his depends
Mm.
because fucking Bruce told him it was a good idea. Oh Jesus Christ! Here we go. I mean, all right. Will it be the worst thing I've ever seen on
No.
WWE TV?
Of course
Nope.
not. Of course not.
Not even close. Not even top 10, probably. When you really think about it, probably not even top 10 worst things you've seen on WWE.
There's some atrocities. So yeah,
Jesus Christ. Katie Vick. That's all I have to say.
Let's not talk about that. I do want to ask you guys what you think is happening with the main event scene in NXT. Obviously, we've just got Finn Balor back, and we've now, it seems, kind of got Karrion Kross back.
He back.
Yeah, I always have to think about his name. Like, what's his goddamn real? Like, what's his name in WWE now?
Not Killer Cross.
Yeah, not Killer. And now it seems like they're even positioning Pete Dunne into a bit of a high-profile position, as well as, of course, Damian Priest on the last NXT show. So, what I think they're probably moving towards, and I would be down with this, is Damian Priest, Cross, and then Balor fucking Dunne. Balor
I think
Dunne,
that's where they're going.
Balor Dunne is money. Balor Dunne is like that match will be fucking phenomenal.
I mean, Finn's gonna break his jaw again.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like that's gonna, like British strong style versus the Prince. Like that shit's gonna be fucking.
Yeah. It's gonna be brutal.
That's gonna be
really
good. That's what that match is gonna be. Like that match is gonna be like a fucking like just that's gonna be watching a nasty mosh pit from the sides. That's what that's gonna be.
I think,
I'm here for it.
Over time, though, Pete Dunne needs to take that belt. In my opinion, I think he would be a great NXT champion.
I think eventually, yeah, he does need to. I don't know if it's
now.
I don't know if it's now or that match, but eventually he needs to.
Yeah. They need to put him back in they're doing the right thing by putting him back in the spotlight of sorts.
Yeah, that's definitely needed. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a little bit. So he needs to have that moment and that add to the his credibility to have that title for a little bit.
Hopefully he's
Doesn't
not
even
fucking.
have to be like the
Sorry.
longest.
Hopefully he's not fucking gray the next time we see him.
Yeah, dude, that was weird.
That was weird.
It was like a zombie.
Well, I don't know. He's sucking on lemons. He's dealing with the scurvy.
Yeah. He's in America now. He's
Old scurvy Pete.
Scurvy Pete.
I guess we're the only ones that picked up on that, by the way, because
I
there's
think so.
like I've not heard anybody else in the
Nobody else.
I-
It didn't make a fucking peep anywhere. Didn't
No.
like, normally every dumb wrestling thing becomes a meme, but for some reason, like there was no memes of him as like Mum-Ra or
That's a
know,
good one.
fucking like one of the walkers from The Walking Dead,
or the
you know,
Yeti.
the goddamn Yeti. Yeah, dude, like come on, like how can you not fucking turn him into
Is something wrong with my TV? Like, what's going on here?
why are you not turning him into Jacob Marley or some shit and like having him be like the ghost of Christmas past or something?
Yeah, maybe that's what they're doing. Speaking of NXT, though, I heard an interesting question, and I want to know if this, what you guys think about it. Because clearly at this point, AEW's won the Wednesday Night Wars, right? Like we can confidently say it with the ratings battles, they have won. Like that, it's maybe 4 times since the whole like head-to-head thing's gone on. Maybe 4 times tops have NXT actually come out on top, and it's always been by a very slight margin. NXT,
and that's even when fucking they're running unopposed.
Correct. So the question is, should NXT consider moving days?
I think that's been a question that's been asked a lot, and I just don't think they will.
I think they're literally going to keep that day to just suck a little bit.
Yeah.
If they can suck a little bit out of AEW,
They're going to be stubborn.
then they win.
They're going to be bullheaded about it.
Yeah, because they would rather have half the viewers that they could have if it means that AEW has half the viewers that they could have.
Yeah, and they know a good chunk of the half they're missing are going to come back and watch it.
Yeah, it's spiteful
Eventually.
and petty and hubris in WWE.
And especially in the last couple weeks too, AEW has been doing gangbusters with ratings. I'll read a quote from Meltzer if you don't mind. Oh
God, now we're gonna get discredited.
Oh, I know. Meltzer says that AEW last week, this was today that he tweeted this. AEW last week beat all 3 hours of Raw last night in key demo.
Wow.
Set its record in VPH, which I guess is viewers per hour, I would assume, and was first in both that and youngest skewing sports audience of the week. We had pegged that next summer at the earliest, and only with WWE not turning it around or else no chance. So what he's saying there is obviously like they did not expect that AEW would be doing those numbers that this soon in their
right.
AEW brought some game, man.
They did.
And there were, I mean, the pay-per-view before last, if you remember, we were all disappointed. They've had their ups and downs, but they have been hitting it hard. And I mean, talk about strong style. They've been strong. Like the programming has been solid. When I watch Dynamite, I watch it all the way through. I'm glued to it.
Yeah. And when was the last time, Matthew, that you could say you watched a Raw or SmackDown 100% through?
Not even while locked in the worst city I've ever been in a hotel room while traveling during quarantine.
That's true. That's very true.
Like I haven't even watched a full one. So
and that is interesting too. That like here we have AEW beating Raw like considerably in ratings. The other thing he said, and I don't have the direct quote, but I don't understand how like the 0.6s and 0.4s work with TV. I'm not TV executive here. I don't
You're not
really
a
know how
Nielsen
that
rating
works.
guy?
No.
What the fuck?
I got a chart up on my wall over here. It's,
Hang on.
I kind of live by it.
But
I'm such a big fan of the Big Bang Theory.
oh, get the fuck out of here! I'm gonna delete you
I'm
from
just
my
kidding.
life.
Fucking
I was
hate
gonna
that
say,
show.
we gotta go now.
I've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
even watched a whole episode. And I hate everyone on
It
it.
is terrible.
Hey, Duncan.
What?
Boo, boo, boo,
Boo, Roman. Boo.
We were so high. Anyway, but no, I guess
Ain't no different.
yeah, I guess Meltzer was asked by a fan of his, if could basically Fox drop SmackDown and pick up like Dynamite, pick up an AEW product, and like obviously there's contracts that prohibit that from happening anytime soon. But what he said about that is interesting is that I believe, and again, I don't know how these rating things work, but consistently AEW is doing a 0.4, and that's on cable, and SmackDown is only doing a 0.6 on network television.
Network. Yeah.
So it is theoretical that AEW could do equally those numbers if given the exposure on a network platform,
If not more.
So I mean, all stuff that no one saw it being. I don't think any of us saw. I mean, we wanted to support AEW. I didn't think it was going to be as successful as it has been. But clearly, they've
Yeah, I don't
done
think
their
any
job.
of us. I think we all expected it to be successful, right?
Right.
But I don't think we expected it to be sort of the phenomenon it has become as quickly as it has become.
I think it's the quickness that is shocking to myself.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people. But I think, like, you talk about could they cancel SmackDown and could they, and like Fox, I'm sure they have a buyout clause.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's
in
pretty good.
I'm sure it's pretty good, but I think they did it with the PGA. They like bought them
that's
out
true.
and ended up saying like it costs more up front. Like, I don't know. I'm not a financial guy, but
wasn't
for
worth
some
it.
reason it makes fucking sense. Somehow someone is like, spend 51 million, save 42, and I made money.
Right.
I don't know. You're right. Like, but I'm sure there's a buyout clause in there.
Yeah.
That would allow them to cancel it.
And I'm
just
sure
pay.
if SmackDown's ratings continue to be as low as they are, like
Yeah, I'm
they
sure
can,
I'm sure there's got to be a let's just call it a
Performance
brass
clause.
ring somewhere in that
Yeah,
contract
there it
that they
is.
have to reach for and constantly grab and hit it with ratings. But I don't think that AEW, with the success they are having, would move to someone like Fox or anything like that. I think it seems like they would be the type of promotion that is going to stick with TNT.
they're going to stick with Turner.
and really bring it home. They're not gonna jump ship. They're gonna what's the phrase? They're gonna dance with the one who brought them there.
And as they should. I mean, like, they took a chance on them, and it's, obviously, I hate to call it a WCW reboot, because that's not what it is, but it definitely feels like it has, its past, its lineage, and its history rooted in the stuff that TNT has done. It's
Especially with Sting being back.
metaphorical home, in a sense. Like, they should honor that and keep that, and it's not like, I always thought, even like the Fox deal with WWE, I remember talking about this before. I'm like, I don't know that you need network television if you're a wrestling fan. Like, you're either in it or you're not. You'll find it wherever you've got to find it if you want to watch it. I don't know that you need a network show. Like, sure, you're going to get like
Yeah,
You're
it's
gonna
not like
get
I'm. It's
extra
not like I'm.
viewers.
And this will date me like watching TGIF on a Friday night and flipping through.
Right.
I'm like, oh, there's
Yeah.
wrestling on. I'm gonna flip back and forth.
You'll get a boost in the ratings just because hey, more people have Fox than they do TNT, just by law of averages.
Sure.
You're gonna get that boost. But are any of those people really like fans? Like they might just be like, oh, wrestling.
I think the same
whatever."
people that are gonna watch SmackDown on a Friday night are gonna watch wrestling if it's on a Friday night. So no matter what it is,
But they wouldn't seek
Right.
it out necessarily.
and also it's like Friday night's not a great night
for
for
TV.
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
a great night
TV
for
anymore?
primetime TV.
no.
Maybe in COVID a little better, I would
Every night's a
assume.
great night for TV and COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
it's all March 325th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what was going on here?
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. I don't even know. Netflix starts questioning your existence and you're having an existential fucking crisis.
Have you guys noticed that actually off topic, but on Netflix
Yeah.
they now have the like just start playing something button when they have like
I
the
have
profiles when you get on there. It's like just choose something for me. I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
I
I'm
heard
so
they
good
were
off.
doing
fuck.
it, but I've not actually seen it on
Okay,
my
it's been
Netflix.
rolled out for like a couple weeks, and I've like gone and you can it'll start playing a trailer and you can skip through them, but it's so funny because it's like I don't give a fuck anymore. Just fucking play something.
Give me
Fucking put
something.
it
Give
on.
me something.
Yeah.
You
Are
know-
you still there? You're like,
Which
I
I
don't even know
eventually,
Netflix.
Owen, off topic, you and I are gonna have to off of the podcast talk about 60 Days In.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I went on a binge on the new one.
Did you?
When I had COVID. Yeah.
oh man, that's a good one. That's a good bingey show. That shit's fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's real fucked up,
It's
man.
real fucked up. I talked about that on the Ono Radio show.
Yeah.
By the way, Ono Radio show, the partner show to this show. If you're not just a wrestling fan, you want to hear me and my compadres talk about, well, shitting, jacking off, 60 days in, whatever, like whatever I'm into.
Kind
that
of the
week.
same
Whatever.
things we've talked about on this podcast. So
Yeah,
it's
just less
talk about
wrestling.
a crossover in wrestling.
Right? There's just slightly less wrestling on the Ono
Yeah, I'm
radio
like,
show,
I'm talking
but
to
only
Owen. Here,
slightly.
let me bring up this thing that I heard on your podcast that I wanted to talk to you about. The
Yeah.
other one that I listen to weekly.
Let me ask you guys this though. How excited are you right now for a potential Goldberg return?
I mean, talk about jacking off. I've been doing it ever since I heard the news.
Oh God.
It wasn't the COVID. It was
Yeah.
it was Goldberg.
It was Goldberg.
I mean, really, we're doing this? Like, do you think they're gonna go through with a WrestleMania Roman
Yep.
Goldberg?
I
They're gonna
sh-
waste.
Well, I don't
they're
know.
gonna
The last I
waste
heard was
that.
that one was off the table, but
they're gonna put everyone in danger. Vince is gonna send them to Saudi, and they're gonna do it over there.
And he's gonna win the belt and then drop it like 2 days later when they get back.
And
to the
everyone's gonna get
States.
COVID.
Yeah.
because it for goddamn sure is not happening in California.
The only thing that they can do with a Goldberg return is save the Fiend. The Fiend, who remember, he dropped the belt in Saudi to Goldberg.
How could we forget?
Oh yeah. Well, because it is incredibly forgettable in a lot of ways.
It's forgettable, but it's also upsetting in a lot
Yes.
more ways.
Yes.
It's yeah, and I'm sure we all know, and everyone listening to this has heard because
Mhm.
anything The Rock does is news. But he wakes up in the morning and opens his eyes, and it's fucking on every headline everywhere. And that they want The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and he
Right.
agrees. And
I'd take
Jim
that a
Ross has said,
million
and then-
times. I'd take that a million times though over Roman and Goldberg.
Yeah, but The Rock has said he would. The Rock would totally put him over too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy like he's going to, but he said that WrestleMania 37 was not the time to do it. Like it needs to be in front of fans. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there needs to be that caliber of match.
So
needs to be
he's
done then.
talking
So
he's talking about if he were to do it, he would do it in 2022. Is I guess what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Or
So-
whatever year it happens to be that you're
Right.
allowed to gather
Yeah.
again.
So they start giving out vaccines. So that's a plus. And they
Yeah.
just approved another one. So
I
we're
mean-
all going. We're getting there. But regardless, I'm sure Vince will get it for himself and the wrestlers because they're an essential business. You know,
They're on the front
somehow.
Nia
lines.
Jax, who doesn't
Yeah,
believe in
exactly.
Yeah.
But regardless, they like. So I think the way that was confirmed, or at least the way I read it was confirmed, was like, no, Arn Anderson on his podcast had mentioned something to the effect of like, yeah, it's like you wouldn't want to do this in front of people, blah, blah, blah. Or you want to do it in front of people. It doesn't make sense if you're going to do Roman versus The Rock. And then The Rock sent a tweet out to Arn Anderson saying, you're a smart man. Makes a lot of, you know,
Yeah, you
like
nailed it,
just kind of
basically.
confirming
Mhm.
like you nailed it. Which makes sense, you know? And so I think then their idea is, do they do Goldberg like another legend to try and draw eyes, right? It's like, and
It seems
they don't
so
need
lazy.
to. It's boring
Yeah,
for
it
us.
seems so lazy and boring.
It's how do you get then if they do it, do you then have the Fiend
No.
kind of
You have Big fucking E win the Rumble and fucking face Roman Reigns and win. That's how you do it. Big fucking E. It's right there.
That is how that's 100% how you do it.
Or
They're just not gonna do it.
they're not. I mean,
They're gonna keep that belt on Roman as long as they fucking can. They're gonna try and, for some reason, like Vince is gonna fucking get off on spiting Lesnar by keeping the belt on Roman longer than fucking Lesnar.
there's also rumors on the other side of things with, you know, Drew McIntyre and what would happen in a WrestleMania match with him right now. And there's a lot of talk, of course, about Lesnar coming back in for that potential rematch. If you're gonna do it, make it a triple threat and put Keith Lee in there.
The fact that they don't have that we don't have any rumors of anything that are more concrete than like, well,
Yeah.
maybe they'll do this, and the next day is like, well, they might do this, but they probably won't do this, but they might do that too. WrestleMania is going to be a shit show this year.
I think
The fact that you don't have anyone other than fucking bringing back people to be a contender. You
Right,
don't have
exactly.
anyone on your roster that is eligible enough to take that position because you've relied on these fucking people.
they
and they're
absolutely
not
do
workers.
have
They're
those
not the
people.
They're
but
not
they
the people
don't-
who are working day in and day out. They have the people and they have the talent and they haven't fucking built them. So
Yeah.
you don't have the people could show up and have the match, but no one is bought. The fans have not bought into those people to care about the fucking match because
Right.
the booking has not done their job. Creative has not done their fucking job and utilize the wrestlers the way that they should have. So
Couldn't
they're
agree
like,
more.
we got to bring Goldberg back. We got to bring, Lesnar back. No, you don't need to bring those fucking people back. Make new people. Like, forget about fucking Goldberg. Forget about fucking Lesnar. Bring up these new people and let this new fucking generation of wrestlers shine because you have a lot of fucking talent,
Mhm.
but you keep fucking it up.
Does anyone want to see Lesnar anymore? I mean, I guess there's people, but
No, until
of the
tonight
three
when
of
we were
us,
talking about him, I
like-
completely had fucking forgotten about him.
right.
Which was
Literally,
nice.
he had not crossed my mind in fucking months.
I gotta pee real quick, but while I do, Duncan, you know what you should do is tell everybody a little bit about your and our friend of the show's
Yeah,
appearance
friend of the show.
on SmackDown.
Yeah, I got you.
Thanks, buddy.
So good friend of ours, Akeem Young, was on SmackDown this past Friday, and I found out about this because obviously I did not watch SmackDown, but I found out about this because it was on the WWE Instagram, and he was the first picture I saw him. He was standing ringside next to the announce table in this very, very suave blue, like almost velvet jacket, standing next to a bottle of champagne. I don't know why. And then the video that I saw was of him getting the shit slapped out of him and then taking a bank statement or taking the backstabber into the bank statement from Sasha Banks. And I'm going to tell you, it was awesome.
Oh, I'm actually watching it right now as you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, oh man. Yep, that is him. I've watched him perform in other capacities, but yeah, he took that shot good.
Yeah, dude,
and
he
the
took
bank
it really
statement.
good.
Yeah. It looks good. It's a
Yeah,
good sell.
Yeah, dude, he's hoping that he'll be back this week on TV, and I hope that he is too. But it was awesome to see him like in the Thunderdome, and just like, because I've seen him a couple other times on NXT and
Yeah.
in the crowd and stuff like that, and I'm just like, man, that's awesome. Like,
Yeah. You mentioned
seeing-
it a couple of times. So did you get to talk to him?
I've
Like,
texted
was
with
it
him.
texting?
I was texting with him a little bit. I need to talk to him because obviously he's we need to get him on the show as well. But he man, he's
It would just be cool to, and I don't know if he'd be allowed to talk about, but like how he was picked to be in a segment like that, right?
Right.
It's obviously not random. I don't think they're just randomly picking someone to put on TV with Sasha. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
they need somebody they know that can take it and work a little
Right.
bit, right?
Right.
That it's going to
Absolutely.
sell these moves
Out of
too.
all the people, too. I mean, it's not like they're short of people that they can throw.
Well,
Yeah,
into
that's
that
what I'm saying. So
role.
he's
Yeah.
obviously doing a lot of things right. So,
No, you're 100% right. And like, he just posted some footage from one of his earlier matches, like one of his developmental matches on his Instagram, and he's killing it. And
We got to get him on.
I was just saying that, like, and we will. I don't think
Yeah.
that'll be that difficult. It's just difficult when he's trying to find some time when he's not training, I guess.
Yeah.
Is the not training or being on TV. So
well, they sent some big guys back to the PC, so he might have an hour or two.
it's very
Yeah.
true. It's very true.
The last thing that I had on my list that I wanted to discuss before we do predictions is Snoop Dogg is going to be over on the AE Dubs coming up, I think, maybe not next week, but the week following. I know they're doing a big thing around the New Year's.
It's like they're doing like a Christmas New Year's thing. It's like 2 weeks, and he's on one of the weeks.
I think he's on the second, like the furthest away
Yeah.
from us currently.
And I'm not.
People are mad.
Oh, who's mad?
The WWE.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because Snoop had a whole
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I know there's the
No,
Sasha
Snoop's a
thing,
Hall of Famer.
and he's a Hall of Famer. But
So like they're like, what the fuck, man? And he's
And
like,
he's like, Hall of Fame doesn't really exist. I
don't
forgot
give a
about that
fuck.
shit I was
Oh,
high.
yeah,
shit.
I give a fuck to do what I want.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I mean, he's actually a wrestling fan by all I've heard it a million times.
Oh,
like,
no.
he's
Yeah.
a real deal wrestling fan.
Did you guys
And-
see all the Snoop and Undertaker merchandise?
Oh man, we didn't
The
even talk
crossover?
about
We
that.
didn't.
Snoop
Yeah,
Dogg.
we haven't talked about that. It looks terrible.
It does.
It looks
Yeah.
like it looks 90s.
Well,
It looks
I-
like
I-
90s bootleg merch.
Yes,
I
it
just
does.
I also just remember like watching one of the like videos or whatever when they were talking about it, and it's like he's like, yeah, I'm a fucking wrestling fan. He's like smoking weed or whatever. He's like always love the Undertaker, and it's like I fucking believe it. I get it. Like I'm sold. Like on Snoop loving wrestling and the Undertaker, right? And then Mark Calloway's like, yeah, someone's caliber like Snoop Dogg and someone like the Undertaker's character, it's just makes sense, It's like that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, it makes money.
It
Yeah.
does. It definitely makes money.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
I can't
like,
wait for that shit to hit clearance.
I've only again like seen clips of it and heard clips of it, but he was absolutely fantastic commentating on the Mike Tyson fight that just happened with what's his
Dude, have
face.
you heard the videos of Snoop Dogg narrating nature clips?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
what I was gonna say.
Oh, he's
Watch
brilliant.
those. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think he's just a good commentator on life.
Exactly. So no, I'm happy, and if he's a wrestling fan and it's a way for AEW to kind of like get one over on him, then why the hell not? Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Matthew just disappeared. We
No,
got.
he'll be back. I'm sure.
I was.
I mean,
I was gonna start our predictions.
I know you were. I felt
fucking-
it coming.
What a! I'll ask you this then, Duncan. What the hell happened to Bo Dallas, my boy? Like he's my boy. Like I love Bo
Oh,
Dallas. What
man.
happened? Like he didn't get released.
No,
he's
his dad did though, didn't he?
Yeah, his dad did. He's them.
Dude, I wonder. Like that's the sad thing is Bo Dallas has a lot of fucking talent, and
I think he's actually so much more charismatic than he's given credit for. Like I think
he was an NXT champion, so
one
like,
of the not the first, but I want to
no,
say
but one of the first,
second
yeah.
or third. I want to say something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
like,
Big E was the second. I don't know.
Early on, Bo Dallas
Yes.
was a big
Yeah.
deal in NXT, and the Bo Leave thing. Like I'm in. I like the Bo Leave thing. Like
I do too.
He's just one of those guys that's. I understand sort of why he's never got his shot in a way,
Mhm.
because he's unconventional in a lot of ways that Vince likes his wrestlers,
Right.
but he is also like, yeah, you're right. He's so talented. I'm not gonna say he's the best worker in the world, but he's certainly passable. He certainly can have a great match, and it's more with him. I've always felt like character driven. He's always been someone that no matter what character you throw at him, he can make it work.
Yep. Absolutely.
And-
Absolutely. I think as far as I think he was the third. I
Okay.
think
Okay, yeah,
Bo Dallas was the third.
that
Seth
sounds
Rollins
about
was the
right.
first.
Yeah,
Big E was the second.
I forgot Big E was the second.
Yeah. Bo Dallas, Neville,
Okay, so
Sami
Neville was.
Zayn.
That's that's an interesting one too with Pac, like with AEW. Like they brought him back for a night, and then I guess he went back to the UK and just like not been on TV for 3
Yeah,
weeks
dude,
now.
it's
Like
so
what the fuck
weird.
is
Like he was there. And
I
then
thought
he's gone,
I
and-
thought at that point like, okay, well now he's back, and
Yeah.
now he kind of did nothing. He kind of just made some idle threats to he made some idle threats to Eddie Kingston or something like so.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they like the Death Triangle attacked the Kingston family or
Yeah.
whatever they're calling them. So yes,
Yeah.
I don't know. Meh.
Hopefully that pays off a little bit. Are you guys? Matthew, you're back. Yeah, you guys ready to do a little bit of a prediction?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. I need to get
Power
it.
through it before I have to pee again myself.
I'm sorry. We
It's
need
fine.
we
You're
need
fine.
a good prediction song. Little
that won't get us hit with a copyright.
right. Here it is. All right. Welcome to Hono Radio Show. Let me do my Fink. I'll do Fink. Hang on.
Do it.
Hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the TLC predictions for 2020. Our champion, Matthew Stafford, the modern day Maharaja, will be defending his title against the King of Monk Style, Duncan, and the Short Kid, Owen Parker. How's that? Is that good?
It's good. It's great.
Is it a good intro for predictions?
Yeah, no. It's totally amazing.
Thank you.
I think Fink's ghost is gonna actually sue us because that was so good.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I
Anderson
never do an
probably
impression.
also.
I never do an impression of Fink. I do an impression of
Anderson.
and Gallows doing the impression of Fink.
Oh my God! Yeah, shut up. Carl.
So we got 6 matches on this card right here. We'll
Oh,
start.
boy.
We'll start with number 6, and we'll work
6.
our way to number 1. This one I didn't even know was a thing. Apparently, the New Day versus the Hurt Business for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Matthew, I guess you go last, right? Is that
Yep.
how this works? You know?
I could go first, but
You could
I'll go
choose. Yeah,
last.
you can choose whatever you want, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this match.
You are
a
the
few
champ.
times.
You
God,
are
we've
the
seen
champ.
this match a lot.
It's interesting though because there's a lot been going on with Cedric Alexander's character and
Yeah,
how
that's true.
he's been sort of like flaking out, kind of like getting a little big for his britches for MVP's taste for the and the rest of the Hurt Business's taste. That's why I'll go ahead and I'll do it. I think New Day's retaining. Like I think New Day it's an obvious choice. I hate to say it, but that's why I will go with that.
It's a very obvious choice, and that's why I'm going with the Shark Business.
Ooh,
Just because.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with, too.
dude! Oh,
Oh,
look at you
shit.
both.
Yeah, I mean, they need something. The New Day doesn't need those titles. And the Hurt Business, I feel like, has been. We've seen this match so many times already that
Yeah.
they need to kind of end it. And New Day is going to get the titles back again eventually.
Exactly.
It's going to happen. There will be another time, but I think in order, if you're going to keep trying to establish Hurt Business
It
as a
would make
stable
a
and
lot
as a
of
threat,
sense,
it
yeah.
makes sense.
I would
Yeah.
actually be kind of for it as a fan. I just somehow think that because of the New Day's loss to the Street Profits on the last pay-per-view, they will take the victory on this one.
Forgot about that. That's a good point.
That's
Sure.
kind of where I'm going with it. But
Well,
hey, I mean, you got to take risks and
Yeah, it paid off last time for me.
exactly. You never know. Sometimes you got to do that wild card. Number 5, Sasha Banks versus Carmella for the SmackDown Women's Championship. They're
See,
kind
I
of.
also think if any titles are going to change hands, it's those tag titles.
That's fair.
that's true.
That is fair. That's
true. I know they're trying to push this repackaged Carmella. She's just not on the level of Sasha Banks.
No.
So I think Sasha retains.
I'm with
Yep.
you right there. It's across the board, right, Matthew? Like
Yep.
we're all Sasha Banks. It's too soon as well. You know, Sasha's just had like the feud of her fucking life and finally conquered that. So to take
Yeah, you don't want to take it away right
take it away right now, like that doesn't make sense. Take it away at the Rumble or Mania or do something like that. But not,
Something.
yeah, nothing against Carmella. I kind of have a soft spot for Carmella, to be honest with you. But
I actually almost brought up 2 weeks ago, I think, Carmella, and like, wow, they really botched that. And now it seems like they've actually kicked it back into high gear.
Yeah,
her
they're
repackaging
trying.
and such. They're trying.
They are.
I mean, I hope it works, but
Yeah, me too.
I think all of us know how this one's gonna go, but we gotta predict it anyway. Match number 4:
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, and shit. This is gonna be a good match. I have a lot. I think this is gonna be really, really, really good.
yep.
But I don't think that anybody in the world thinks that Kevin Owens is going to be taking away that title in a table, ladders, and chairs match.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we're all across the board on the same with Reigns again, right? Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be Reigns. I think we're gonna see a good like power bomb by Owens to Reigns, like through a table or onto a ladder, or something, like in order to sell it. And
we're
get-
gonna
then
see
get
a
kick
pop
out.
up power bomb reversal into the guillotine.
True.
Some weird
That's good.
shit that happens in there that has Roman win with the tap out. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and To Be Determined, which was of course supposed to be Lana. I'm gonna go ahead on a limb right here and say that these are the titles that change hands, and I think it will be Asuka, and I do think it will be Lana, and I think that we get a weird. Asuka can't find a partner. Lana's gonna come down to the ring with a bit of a limp or an injury, and then finally get a little bit of comeuppance after Asuka does most of the work herself in the match, and then we have the weird odd pairing. But you've got, here's my reasoning for this: you've got to break up Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, because you're only hindering Shayna Baszler by pairing her with that fucking piece of trash. Not piece of trash. I'm sure she's a nice person, but someone I don't want to see in a wrestling ring. So yeah, I'm going Asuka and to be determined.
I'm also going Asuka and to be determined, but I don't think it'll be.
Don't think it'll be Lana. Who do you
No,
think
I
they?
don't
Who do you think they do
I-
then?
Anybody else? I just don't think that they're gonna. For some reason, they're going to do this weird punishment push with Lana, right? So like maybe she'll get a little bit of comeuppance against Nia Jax and like put her through a table or whatever, but it's not a TLC match. It's just a regular match.
That is
So-
true. That is true. That is true.
So actually, I am gonna take that back, and I'm gonna say
Oh.
Nia and Shayna retain
All right. crossing it out.
because I still think Lana will put her through a table, but it'll cost Asuka and TBD the match.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Where are you going with this, Matthew? Did we lose? Oh, I thought it was.
I mean, I think the only, like I said earlier, and I know you guys didn't like, the only other option I see other than Lana is Flair.
Charlotte, yeah. I just
Right?
feel like it
Or
would be a waste of
Dana
Charlotte.
Brooke was rumored, or
Yeah. Because that would be so huge with Dana
or
Brooke.
they do Eva Marie.
Yeah. I'd pop more for Eva Marie than I would Dana Brooke on this.
I would not care either way.
I would not care really much at all.
But
It
like,
would
do you
not
think you could
matter to
do
me.
bring Flair back and somehow have it so they don't win and they're setting up Flair and Asuka for Rumble or something?
Again?
Just so that Flair can beat Asuka?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a lot of other women for her to beat?
No.
No, I don't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
She could
So,
be.
I mean, she's coming back regardless.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess it's just a question of if she's going to come back and go for. Like, I guess she could be the TBD because that would be a higher profile for the women's tag titles. But meh.
Yeah, I'm a little meh on that too. But okay, so
I'm gonna say, yeah. I mean, my gut's telling me to go. They retain, but you know what? I'm gonna throw caution to the wind. Asuka and TBD.
you go and Asuka TBD. All right, let me write that down here.
The Lana thing is just, it happened too soon for this to.
Yeah, it was like yesterday.
I still think she's-
yeah, it was,
Yeah.
We're not even 24 hours.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. We got two more matches. We got the Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton.
No, Randall Keith.
In just a singles match, of course. Like no, which is interesting. I thought they might have thrown a weird like funhouse thingy in there or something.
TLC House of Horrors
But, right.
match
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Oh, yay.
That we all want that.
It's your pick or mine?
I don't care, but I know because I know what I'm picking anyway. So I'll go
And
if
it's
you
the
want.
Fiend.
Yeah, it's Bray.
Yeah.
I'm going Bray Wyatt on this.
Yep.
All across the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
We're probably all going the same on the next one.
And yeah, Drew versus AJ with Omos. Now, I will say that there is enough time for AJ to win this through a screwy finish, especially with Omos, and have it get back on Drew before Mania, which is where I think, he needs to have that belt. And then probably lose it for reals. This one isn't as cut as dry for me as I once thought. I mean, Drew McIntyre's the obvious choice. We can all say that.
Sure.
But there is something alluring to having the possibility of AJ kind of take it, because it is a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Drew's got or AJ's got Omos.
Yep.
There's also this thing brewing with Sheamus going on right now with Drew and
So I was
Sheamus.
about to say, yeah.
So what if Sheamus were to cost Drew the match?
Okay.
I am on the fence with this one, but I mean,
Me
my
too.
heart is Drew. My heart is Drew, and I think that it's more than likely that way. But I can see some chicanery with AJ, picking this up too. And it would also put a nice highlight on the whole Omos thing.
The only issue that I see is that the next pay-per-view is the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So I guess you could do, what are you going to do, a rematch with AJ and Drew at the Rumble?
You could.
Drew wins. You could.
Or you have him get really hot, request his rematch on a Raw, try and gain viewership back.
Maybe.
Doesn't get it, or does something, or Sheamus has something to do with it, right? Or something like that. Then
there's also the Brock.
McIntyre
There's
wins
also the
the
Brock
Rumble
factor
and gets
with
him.
McIntyre.
McIntyre wins the Rumble, puts himself in it, wins the Rumble. You get Roman Reigns,
Ooh.
McIntyre at WrestleMania.
I like 2 times in a row.
2 in a row?
Yeah. Pull the old Sean.
And this time he did,
Maybe he doesn't win it the next time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's all these are very good, astute observations. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna do the safe bet because I want my championship back, and Drew McIntyre is what I'm putting down for myself.
I mean, I'm not going to take my championship back, so I'm also going to go Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
I'm
Across
also
the
going
board.
Drew McIntyre, and I'm going
All
to retain.
right. Well, I guess we'll know who the champion is very early on, probably in the show.
Yeah.
Seems about right.
Seems about right. Usually what happens. But yeah, I mean, from not even a prediction standpoint, I would kind of like to see AJ win it though. Like it might be a night, like maybe his last run with the WWE title too, because he doesn't have that much.
Only be a month long.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
a
if
good
AJ's
point.
gonna have another run, he should have another run.
I'd rather them put like a mid card belt on him and have him have that for like 6 months or something. Like, I'd rather that than a month-long run with the top title,
the world title. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean,
So we'll see.
We're locked in.
Oh
Whew.
God.
Well, we'll see what happens. Will the modern day Maharaja retain? Speaking of fucking that motherfucker. Do you guys heard about NXT India apparently kicking off? That's a thing.
I have heard about this.
Yeah. We'll end on that. We'll end the show.
Yeah, why haven't
on
we
that.
thrown Jinder Mahal in the mix to face someone Roman Reigns at Mania?
WrestleMania. Yeah.
You know, in retrospect, I hate Jinder so much less than I did when he was champion. Like I kind of actually want another Jinder run. Like I want Jinder.
And then as soon as they put that belt back on him, you are gonna be so pissed. You're gonna be like, Jinder Mahal, are you kidding me?
He had a really fucking cool entrance though, man.
He did.
Yeah.
He had a really fucking
I like
cool
the
entrance.
The entrance was good.
Where is he? Has he just? I mean, I've seen pictures recently, and jacked. I mean, I don't think he does anything else. But I mean, what has he been injured? Is that why they haven't been? Using him?
He was injured. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. I could be wrong about this, but I want to say it was a bicep thing or something. Like I know,
okay, like a bicep tear or something.
Yeah,
like that put him out for a while.
I could be wrong about that, but I know. Yeah, he has been out from injury. He came back and was around for maybe a month or two, and got hurt at some point.
The Singh brothers are really pissed they don't have that coattail to ride anymore,
Right.
huh?
Well, I guess maybe they do now in NXT India, and maybe they'll. I mean, you got the Singh brothers probably reportedly being a big part of this. Obviously throwing Jinder in there, and then do they bring back the fucking the Great Khali? Like they throw.
It was his knee.
It was his knee. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, that sucks. But Khali, Great Khali, he's one of those legends down there too.
Oh, dude, he is like a rock star.
He's like a huge deal. I didn't realize this. I heard this on another podcast. I can't remember which one the other day, but like he puts on shows that are like selling out cricket stadiums, like 60,000 people, like
Massive
wrestling
fucking
shows,
events.
Massive events.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, prior
Granted,
to
it's
COVID,
India and there's like 1 billion people.
There are, yeah. But it's still that's pretty fucking
No, it's impressive. As hell, no matter where.
Very.
So I would assume that they would have to have him included. Like he's probably going to end up being the commissioner or something. He'll be the William Regal of NXT India.
NXT India. Yeah, he'll be a focal point of it in some way, shape, or form. Even if they just do like, dude, all they have to do is bring Khali out every now and again. Like, be like, this is the Great Khali Invitational Battle Royal.
Cool. And he could barely walk too, so don't make him do anything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you just have him model for the next Andre statue.
Yeah.
And then you're good. That's it.
Oh, he was always like the most agile wrestler, even in his like prime, wasn't he?
Dude.
He was definitely.
Jesus
I remember that.
Christ.
I actually heard they're sending him back to the PC.
The PC.
Yeah, they're sending him into
Yeah.
developmental.
Yeah. I heard they're gonna teach him how to do a big moonsault.
Yeah.
Off the Punjabi prison.
Can you see? Oh, in my head, I just had that visual of the Great Khali trying to do a moonsault, and it was not good. It was.
Yeah,
he's
it's
so big, you
stiffness, like trying to get like the inertia and like.
He's so big, that's why it has to be off the Punjabi prison.
Yeah.
Because it takes like 8 minutes for him to
Yeah.
fucking turn around.
He still just like barely leans back like us falling into a bed.
Dude, it's
with
like
that
he's doing a
entire
trust
drop.
fall. He's doing a trust fall.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's amazing.
that cracked me up. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get the fuck out of home?
No, I just want to talk about the Great Khali doing trust falls is now a thing that I want to see.
Yes.
But there'd have to be like 60 people around him because he's so massive.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just like, whoa.
And Jim Ross would be really mad about how
Oh,
like
man.
people take dives and there's 10 people, taking trust falls.
Old man yells at clouds.
God damn it, Jim Ross! Like, can you shut up, please?
One of the old timers has to be an annoying dickhead every week.
Yeah.
It was just Jim Ross's turn.
It was.
I love
Yeah.
Jim.
Oh shit! That's my timer. Sorry. It just ran out. Apparently.
It's all good.
I love you, boys. And I thought this is honestly one of my favorite shows we've ever done. If I'm gonna be real with you.
Great show.
I had a lot of fun, and we will be back with y'all's hopefully next week. Oh, is it like Christmas or something coming up, right? What's going on
that's
with
like
that?
next-
There's things and stuff.
Next week,
It's
right?
like a Friday, I think. I don't know what's going on.
It's like a Thursday, Friday. It's
Well,
Yeah, next week's the 22nd.
Oh yeah, so we should probably. I mean, unless you guys have any obligations, but
I'm good to do it.
I'm good for the 22nd. We'll be doing that.
We'll be here.
guys, if you're just listening on the podcast, make sure to tune into our Twitch stream every once in a while. We do this thing around 8:30 every Tuesday evening, Eastern Standard Time. And check that out over at twitch.tv/ONRS Live. Obviously, find all of our stuff over at ohnowrestling.com. Find us on Facebook. Facebook's got all that shit. You know, you type it in and you put in Ono Wrestling and then you hit enter and then it's like, oh, look, they got a group, they got a page. Yeah, do both those things. That'd be really cool. And then if you're, familiar with the Ono universe and you would like to explore that, please check out OhNoRadioShow.com and everything that we do on all podcast platforms. Of course, do the same with that. We got groups for that shit too. Whew. What else? Am I missing anything? Oh, my Patreon. Patreon. Let's do the Patreon. Patreon.com/ONRS. That stands for Ono Radio Show. But yeah, do that one because it goes back and funds everything that is Ono related. What do you got, Matthew?
How come none of us thought maybe Mandy Rose could be Asuka's part?
Because no one cares.
I'm just saying, she did come out.
Valid point.
That being said, check out these motherfuckers at nobodycaresgoharder.com. And, I'm sure once upon a time, they used to do a podcast. I'm sure they'll be coming back with one at some time soon. And what do we say when we get out of here, boys? Woo!
Listen to some Bollywood fucking music? You are a Jinder fan.
It's time for a tipsy ad. Yeah, I'm gonna do this ad a little bit, tipsy, if you know what I mean. So, again, you know what we're doing. Thanks so much, you jabronis, for listening to the Ono Radio Show. Means the world to me, and I hope that you really, really, truly know that. In case you didn't know, you can watch and interact with live in our chat room Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/ONRS Live. Again, twitch.tv/ONRS Live. There's a full video version of our show, and you can chat along with us in a chat room on the side. We read the chats. Trust me, we do as we go along. Video is also posted on YouTube like the next day, or actually it's usually the night of. You can find all of that at Ono Media. Just search for Ono Media, and please subscribe, like, follow on there, I want my YouTube shits to get, I want to be bigger on YouTube. I want to be a big guy, be a superstar. But we're also doing some other stuff over at onomedia.com because we're doing a lot of video production lately, and it's something we're really super proud of. You might have seen it on other shows. So if you want to, increase the value of your product, of your service, your advertisements, or if you just want cool fucking looking shit like we got and like Tom and Dan got, please hit us up on our contacts over at onomedia.com. Apart from that, don't forget we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/ONRS. We'd love for you to join because we got tons of bonus content over there. For $2 a month, you should do that. And of course, if you're a fan of pro wrestling, or the graps as we like to call it, There's a little site and a little podcast I do over at ohhnowrestling.com as well. So check that out. We love you. Enjoy the rest of the show.